Hi all, this is Rex King. This is a very solemn occasion that I'm presenting this information to you. I'm a dedicated brother to Jehovah since 1977. I grew up in the truth. My mother was baptized in the assembly that the Truth Book was released around 1968, 69, in that area of time. I was a boy. I grew up studying the Revelation book and all of those serious study books they had back then, the finished mystery and all of that kind of stuff. So I know what the truth is. I started partaking as one of the anointed back some 15 or so years ago. I had known I was one of the anointed since I was a boy, but I refused to start partaking because I wasn't comfortable with the way things were. I wasn't comfortable with the organization. Slowly through the years, the organization has drifted away from its primary purpose, its purpose of making people the best they can be so that they can be the kind of people that can live in paradise. Well, the fact of the matter is it's time for paradise, but Jehovah's people aren't prepared because the governing body hasn't been preparing them properly. He's been teaching them how to be children forever. They took this thought in the Bible that you must become childlike, and they took it to heart to teach the organization's members to be children and simple and basically ignorant in their understanding of how this world works and being able to be successful in this world. Fortunately, Jehovah has sent me ahead, like he has in the past, sent out a spy ahead to figure out what to do to fix the situation. And finally, I've come to the understanding of what it's going to take to help Jehovah's organization, its members, its rank and file, that have been hurt so terribly by this governing body. What it's going to take to fix it or help this organization, its members, to recover and become functioning members of society today. The fact of the matter is, there's very, very, very good literature out there that's going to make it possible for everyone to learn to have productive lives. The sooner the better. We can't take back the past and all the wasted years that we didn't. When Jesus said, "Go therefore and make disciples of people of all the nations," what he's basically starting is a blueprint. Okay, hey, look, you go out there and be the best people you can be so that other people are going to want to be like you. Well, that means in every aspect of your life, being the best everything you can be, being the best engineer, the best scientist, the best doctor, the best farmer, the best person that knows how to recycle trash, the best everything, And that's the point. And Jehovah, and through this organization, its teaching has basically told us to just wait on Jehovah, wait on Jesus, wait on Jehovah. Don't do anything more in your life than you absolutely have to. And what that's done is it's messed up lives, past opportunities. It's in a preaching work that's practically useless because it's not making people better people. I mean, Jehovah's organization is full of sick people, and the reason why they're sick is because they don't know the truth from the viewpoint of how to make it a functioning, practical thing in your life. Oh yeah, you know how to be a good person, but what's that good for if you don't know how to do anything? I'm good for nothing. That's what you're good for. And that's something. Jehovah's organization has made us a bunch of good for nothing people, and I assure you that is literally true because it's taken me the last several years to overcome. Fortunately, I know the path now, and I know the best literature to go to and what to look at and how to fix this organization. First of all, this organization is no longer a religion. I am one of the anointed brothers of Jehovah, and I am declaring right now, this organization of Jehovah's organization, this organization of Jehovah is no longer a religion, but it's a social organization. It's a social organization for the purpose of helping people to be the best they can be from a spiritual, moral viewpoint, best healthy living, so that they're going to want to live forever on this earth because they're the best, whatever they are. And that's what this organization is going to teach. Anyway, through the existing website and the media, whatever it's called that they have today, and what's been developed, if the governing body refuses to cooperate, Jehovah's just going to destroy the whole thing, and we'll just go a different route. It's no big deal. It's it's sort of like somebody that refuses to accept defeat. They just go off like a crying baby over and over and over again. And that's what we're looking at. It would be better if they would learn to cooperate. The fact of the matter is, they're as duped as everybody here. I was duped. They were duped. We're all in the same boat. We're coming to consciousness. They didn't do, by the way, the governing body hasn't done anything wrong. From the viewpoint is, I don't think that they've maliciously done what they did. They honestly thought that disfellowshipping people that was just trying to grow up and make honest mistakes, and then shaming them for it and all that, if they think that that was wise and loving, it just goes to show you how ignorant they must be. But all the pain and suffering and trauma and death and turmoil that they've created by unnecessary restriction, it's unfathomable. That's why this organization is going through as much turmoil as going up to this point. But every statement on this board is true. This actually happened. I was present, and no clue whatsoever. If the governing body was in touch with Jehovah, they would have known what to do and how to handle the situation, but they were completely ignorant. They were given fair warning several days ahead of time. Everything they had to do was just believe, to have faith in Jehovah, and they just didn't. So if they're unaware of the fact that this is true, it's because they're so ignorant they don't even know this. That's how blind they are. But this has actually happened. And I was present, and that's all I'm going to say. But if they had been worshipers of Jehovah at that point in time, in a true sense, they would have known what to do, and they didn't. And the reason why is Jehovah had already rejected them and had already begun to prepare me for what, for this day, to be able to now let them know how serious this is, how off track they've gotten with this organization, and how they need to get back on track. And I'm here to help them. I mean, that's my purpose. And I'm making this message out, I'm sending this message out to the world, all those that are existing Jehovah's Witnesses, to know that Jehovah hasn't forsaken this organization one bit. You haven't been misled from the viewpoint that, yes, the intent is for this world to be perfect, to you to live in paradise, and all's going to be good. That's true. No question about it. The Bible is true. But at the same time, if you don't interpret it correctly, you teach people things that they think's going to happen, and it's not. And one thing that's been interpreted incorrectly is the book of Revelation. And because the book of Revelation has been interpreted incorrectly, the governing body has been looking for an Armageddon, a physical cataclysm to destroy most of the earth. But the fact of the matter is, that's an incorrect interpretation of the book of Revelation. On this website, I actually have a video, a short video that I did, just a brief video, just the very basic, bare bones interpretation of the book of Revelation. But it's enough to help a person to see that, to believe in, and also if you watch some of the other videos I've done, you'll begin to realize how how silly it is to think that there's going to be an Armageddon. Why would the true God create this beautiful earth, fill it up with people, and then in his almightiness, in his all-presence, in his all-knowing, not be able to get those people to understand what to do in a quick way in order to get in line, make the direction change necessary? Remember, like when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, They were going in a certain direction. The governing body then was leading them in a certain direction. And at some point, though, they needed to make a change. Well, how did they get that information? Well, here we are today. It's time to make a change. The organization needs to make some functional changes. And the existing governing body can't understand that because I wouldn't have understood it. But I've been trained. Now I understand what it's going to take. And basically, we need to make this organization now a social organization to where its members aren't going to have, no one's going to have moral authority over others. We're going to support and help one another to be the best we can be from where we are as an individual now. No judgment. We love our neighbor as we love ourselves. We're all going to be focusing on making ourselves the best we can be as an individual. And as we do that, we're going to be also assisting others to do the same. And Jehovah's Spirit's going to work between us. And like knives, sharpening knives, we're all going to be sharpening each other, becoming more spiritual, really, truly spiritual people. In fact, brothers, the condition your spirituality is right now it's not very good. This organization has confused spirituality with morality. Okay, it's just completely confused the two. And by doing that, it's turned God, Jehovah, into a petty God. Like he's worried about if some young couple deciding whether they want to get married or not may take a turn with each other so that they can figure out whether they want to do this the rest of their life or they could make a pass. Instead of committing to a marriage that's completely, irresponsible, not having, a level of confidence in a relationship that's, now I'm not saying that should be done in every case, but what I am trying to say is that people need to have a practical, when the Bible said that we should have to go back and be like little children, what it was saying is that we have to go back and look at everything that we do in our lives and see, is it practical? Is it beneficial? Is it useful? Is it going to be helpful for my family, for myself, for the congregation, for the organization, for everything? But again, an organization that's not a religious organization, but a spiritual support organization to help people to understand how to be the best they can be. An organization that's going to help transition them, if they will, from the impractical life that we have as Jehovah's Witnesses, sincere, loving, devoted, good, but impractical life in this world, so that we can become more practical and live in a world that is going to be a paradise of reality, not a paradise of God's going to wipe out all of the bad people, and then just a few good people that's left, we're going to grow up to be perfect and everything's going to be good. I mean, come on now. This doesn't make sense. I mean, look at the Bible. You go back to the beginning with Adam and Eve. I mean, it was clear that mankind was incomplete. What were they incomplete? They had no mind. Adam and Eve were just children. What's been happening over the last 6,000 years is mankind growing up mentally. And that's what's happened. The organization, through the Bible, through Christ, has been prepared. Christ basically prepared the way for mankind to start thinking along the lines of love. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what's been happening over the last 6,000 years, mankind has been growing with that concept. Through Christ, as well as other good men through the centuries, Buddha and all these others that have, the Buddha, or not that was his name, but all these men that came to be called different things, like we call, Jesus the Christ, or the Savior, the Christ. But the point is that these were holy men that were teaching good, wonderful things from all corners of the earth. And so from that, God has been working with people forever, trying to get them to grow spiritually. But it's like, the thing is, it's about the maturing of the spirituality of the character of mankind, completing mankind. Remember, the first creative days finished all the things, all the animals and so forth and so on. And then it was mankind. And in this last part, God rested and he gave it to us to become mankind. We have free will. Mankind as a group, as a collective, have free will. And so we have exercised our free will over the last 6,000 years. And now here we are, conscious enough. We went from that ignorant, unconscious condition of Adam and Eve to the conscious, mentally aware condition that we are now. You're listening to this video now and understanding and comprehending it is proof of what I'm saying. In other words, Jehovah's organization has fulfilled its purpose. It's done. It's complete. The religious part anyway, the preaching part that it did in the past and so forth, it finished it some time ago. And that's the point. It should have been transitioning to this, what I've been talking about, but it hasn't been because it didn't know, because it was rejecting the true Christ. It was thinking that morality was more important than spirituality. You know, what's the purpose of morality? You know, it's to keep a healthy body so that our spirituality can exist in a physical form. But they was worried about our physical body so that our spirituality is enslaved to it. You know, so much that we're rejecting our own family members and rejecting opportunities to have good times with them for no reason, for superstition. I mean, superstitious to think there's something superstitious about celebrating a birthday, you know? I mean, give me a break. Anyway, I don't mean to humiliate or mock or anything or anyone. Everybody is good. Everything is good. It's all going to work out in the long run, okay? The question is, will this organization choose to take someone in that's been trained? Again, I'm a brother that grew up in this organization. I mean, I know it, okay? Other than the last few years, but there hasn't been much change other than its degrade. Look, if you just read a book on simple logic, okay, just simple logic, the logic that makes this world function. Now, if you think the logic of this organization is going to be completely different of all the logic that everything else in the world functions by, you can believe that if you want to. But it's just not true. And so this organization functions by a logic, okay? And what it was, well, in reality, Russell knew. See, Russell, when he started this organization, he put an expiration date on it. He says, when we're not collecting the money, when it's obvious things aren't going the way they used to, it's time to stop, okay? But this organization didn't see that. They kept going in that direction until it became so obvious that they couldn't continue. They actually started begging for money instead of saying it's time to stop. We're doing something wrong. Jehovah's Spirit is not directing us anymore. Yeah, we're successful because we got money in the bank and we can borrow money so we can do whatever we want. But is that really Jehovah's backing, or are we fooling ourselves? Again, the direction changed some time ago. I'm not here to say that your direction changed. What I'm here to do is to say, hey, look, the direction changed some time ago. Are you finally going to change, or are you going to let this organization just be completely destroyed? Because it's completely unnecessary from the viewpoint of Jehovah's purpose being accomplished. Its function, though, would be really nice if it can be corrected to the degree where it can start in a healthy way, start teaching its members to function in a paradisaic world. In a paradisaic world, there are no leeches. And Jehovah's organization in reality is a leech. Because it's basically saying, give me whatever I need so that I can function, but I don't want to give anything to this world that I absolutely, other than negativity. You need to die, you need to go away, you need to be destroyed. I mean, that's a leech, man. It's an awful, nasty thing. What I'm trying to do is help you to get a perspective of what Jehovah's Witnesses look like today from the outside. It's a pathetic, sick, leech organization. It just is. It does not give good. It cannot, anyone with any mental difficulty whatsoever, it cannot help them spiritually. And so what happens is they have to go to the world and try and get help, but because they're incapable of understanding or trusting in the world, they compromise any real help that they get, and they wind up, in a lot of cases, just committing suicide because they can't function anymore in this world when they realize that this organization cannot actually help them in a real practical way when shit hits the fan. It just can't. And that's why, there's no question it can't help people. It just doesn't. The blood issue, too, is another example of that. How really serious is this blood thing? I haven't studied it completely, but it's becoming more obvious to me that any caution that needed to be taken because of blood has been looked at. Compare it to eating pork. Today we eat pork. Why? Because now we know what was causing the problem that made the prohibition of pork back in the Bible. Okay, but now we eat pork. Why? Because we know it's safe. Okay, it's been proven safe. Okay, well, blood is sort of the same thing. Oh yeah, there was some issues with it, to use it in blood transfusions. Okay, it confirmed the concern the brothers had. Okay. But is it really a situation now? Now, granted, I'm not saying that a person should do it or not, okay? But is it to this level of severity that the brothers have placed it? Are they even putting it in the correct context with regard to the scriptures? Or have they elevated it to some position to take some sort of a moral control over people that's completely unnecessary? I mean, it's just completely unnecessary. I mean, in the first century, in the first century, it got to the point where they said, the scripture said, if you go get something in the meat market, don't worry about how they cut it and butcher it. Don't worry, just get it and eat it and don't worry about it. But now, for some reason, we have to be as concerned about that particular thing so much. Why? All I'm saying is why? Prove it to me. Show me. The Missouri show me scripturally. You see, one of the things that Jehovah trained me or showed me, in my training, that proved to me that there was something missing, was when I began to realize that the organization ever really went back to Jesus. They never really went back to Adam and Eve and figured out what happened in the garden. That's why they still believe in the devil and they teach in the devil. And if you can teach the devil, then your organization has purpose. See, that's what it is. It's a catch-22. The organization exists because it believes in the devil and it has to protect people from the devil so that they can reach God. But the fact of the matter is, what if there is no devil? And so their purpose of existence is to believe in the devil. And so if they decide that there's no devil, they figure that out, they come to understand spiritually that there is no devil, then the organization doesn't need to exist anymore. And so the governing body is out of a job. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that when a person truly understands the scriptures clearly, and I've did some videos that are already online today where you can look at them as soon as you finish this one, and they'll help you to clear up a few points. In fact, I'm willing to do a video on just about any subject to help you to get a spiritual perspective or a different viewpoint to help you to understand that there's life after, illusion. Mirage. Don't get me wrong. The Bible is true. The Bible is going to occur. But the fact of the matter is, to the extent you haven't been taught properly, it's a problem. And that's what we're talking about. The ignorance that these brothers have had is, it's ridiculous. Look, all I can say is there is no bad. Okay, so everything up to this point had to occur. Evidently, the organization, because of errors in the past, had to go through some tribulation of punishment, the stress of what's going on, so that they would be in a mental position to, at this moment in time, be able to read this message and recognize, hey, look, there's something called synchronicity going on in the world. Jehovah is actually everywhere at the same time, and he's aware of everything at the same time too. So he's ever present, he's ever conscious of that presence, and also he's all powerful. So do you think he could make things all come together and happen at the same time some way, especially with regard to his organization, that he would like to be able to recover from this horrible spiritual condition that it's in, so that it can now repurpose itself as a spiritual help organization, not a religion, not having any moral authority over others, but only there for the purpose of helping people to gather together, to support each other, to see to it that everyone has what they need mentally and spiritually, take care of their families, any issues the family has, it's surprising how we can learn how to heal ourselves and others if we just get a little proper training. Look, I want to end this. We're at 25 minutes, and hopefully, this is all taken and understood like it's supposed to. If so, I'm sure things will start happening in the very near future. Anyway, may peace and goodwill, peace, let me put it plain as can be. Peace and security is now possible on earth. All we have to do is recognize it and move toward it. Jehovah has prepared the way in every way possible. And all we have to do is get the brothers that forget who's really in charge sometimes. It happens to all of us. Help them to see it's time to come to their senses. Just because they think they know everything don't mean they really know everything. I don't know everything either. Jehovah tells me in time, we need to do one step at a time, and that's where we are now. And hopefully the brothers realize that this is the next step for them too. Anyway, thank you, and please take the time to watch the other videos. Hope I see you there.